The Toronto Blue Jays, the first team in the AL to hit that 70-win mark.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. As always, I'm Brayden Wasco. He's Carter First. You can find us on Twitter, Brayden Fabi Wasco. Carter First, too, as well on Instagram and TikTok at Locked On Blue Jays. Oh, actually, you can also follow us on our main Twitter account at Locked On Jays. And if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do that. If you guys keep coming back, watching the podcast, hoping that the Blue Jays continue on this, what seems like magical year, hit that subscribe button. Do it for us. It's free. You might as well. You get your shorts, your podcasts, your live streams, your videos, the whole ordeal. Carter, my man, just a solid day. I feel like I say, oh man, lot to get into on every single episode. So I'm going to not say that. I'm just going to say, hey, some good stuff to get into here after this first win against the Cubs. Shutout Cam Poitras and Paul Edmonds. I'll be wearing my Blue Jays jersey loud and proud tomorrow to work, or the day you guys listen to this to work today. So yeah, very thrilling first game. Blue Jays got it done. You saw the return of Jeff Hoffman, not coming off of a huge rest. Does that affect him? We're going to get into all of that. The start from Jose Berrios. We'll talk all about that. But Carter, I just want to start it here. The 70-win mark, the first team in the AL to hit this mark. And there are a lot of fans still doubting what this team has done and what they can do. Do you still have worries, even though we are this far into the season? And I think this is brought to my mind because I'm seeing, friends of ours, people on Twitter, people in our comment section once in a while, say that they just don't quite believe in this team still. And personally, I don't know how you can't. But I don't know. Thoughts, feelings? What do you think?
It depends what you're referring to for me to be worried about. There is definitely some worrying things on this team, like the starting rotation, like how they match up against different teams in the playoffs. So it really comes down to the specifics. If you're asking me if I'm worried about this team, making the playoffs, absolutely not. They should. It would have to be an absolute collapse to not make the playoffs at this point. Like you said, first team in the AL to reach 70 wins, 70 and 50. We're 4 wins away from last year already. And it's August, 12th, the day this comes out? August 13th, maybe the day this comes out? 13th. No matter what it is, it's middle of August, and we're right there. So it depends what you're asking me. Because if you look at, if we played the Dodgers, would I be nervous or worried in that series? Yeah, probably. It's the Los Angeles Dodgers, and they got a super team. The Padres, whoever it comes up against. If it's the Tigers, if it's the Mariners, who look really scary right now on an 8-game win streak. So again, I think there's more context for that question. But do I believe in this Toronto Blue Jays team? Absolutely, I do. What have we seen throughout the last 120 games? What have we seen from this offense? What have we seen from even the bullpen in this game? Is absolutely unstoppable. All of these guys look like just making those additions at the trade deadline. So I'm not worried that the Toronto Blue Jays can't play competitive baseball, but I'd be definitely worried in a playoff scenario just because of the lack of experience from this Toronto Blue Jays team in a playoff scenario. So for the rest of the regular season, I'm not that worried, but there's bigger things to be had here, and the Toronto Blue Jays don't have a lot of experience in deep playoff runs. So I think I'm more worried for the playoffs when that comes. Again, that is still a month and a half away. So we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but not worried for the rest of the regular season. Just want to see a lot of things come together so I can be a little bit less worried and nervous for the start of the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. I think it's fair to have playoff worries and woes because we haven't seen this team succeed. And I mean, there are a lot of teams that you can say that for. There are a lot of teams that just haven't shown up. And people would be mad if it's a first-round exit. People would be mad if it's a second-round exit. If you don't win the World Series, it's an unsuccessful season, really. So that's what every team's end goal is every single year, is to win the World Series. So I totally get that. And this is going to be a bigger conversation as we get closer and closer to that playoff mark and where this team may end up. But I think for the regular season, you have to understand how good and solid this team has been. I mean, we just had a huge conversation on Jeff Hoffman yesterday and 2 days ago talking about, hey, can this guy be successful? Can he be your closer? Well, I think, again, when you look at the big sample size of this season, you would say yes. And I don't want to rehash everything we talked about. but a good outing today. And I think that's a big part of this is instead of looking at this team on a game-to-game basis, which sometimes is okay, but for those of you that are really complaining about this team on a daily basis to your friends online, wherever it may be, take a look at the bigger sample size. And there are a lot of Blue Jays content creators, media, whatever you want to call everybody, that are either one way or the other. They're either they love to stoke the flame of getting people fired up about little things that they can be mad about, or it's the other way and they're hardcore defending this team. And I think as fans, we should be somewhere in the middle. When there are things going wrong, be critical. Understand the game. When things are going well, enjoy it, because this doesn't happen all the time. And I don't want to sit here and sound like, oh, this is great no matter what happens. That's not the case. But I think we have to be happy about where this team is at. And I think what the culmination of this season could be. But Carter, I've been yapping long enough about just how much I love this ball team. So I guess let's hop right into it.
Yeah, I'll circle back to one thing. I got one more thing I quickly want to jump into before we kind of break down the game. Is it's tough to be worried right now because there's still so much baseball to be played. Yes. There's still so much uncertainty within the season. Like you could be playing bad baseball right now, or you could be playing the greatest baseball right now. Like the Mariners, like I just said, are on an 8-game win streak, but you still have a month and a half of baseball. Like this team could look a whole lot different and be playing a whole lot different at the start of the playoffs. So it's tough to worry about like the bigger picture right now because there's so much that can still happen with injuries, with performances, with overachieving, underachieving. So like I'm just kind of riding the high right now, and I know like this last stretch hasn't necessarily been the greatest stretch of all time, but when you just look at the overwhelming results from this season, like the Toronto Blue Jays have the best record in the American League, the first team in the American League to reach 70 wins. They have the MLB's best record against interleague play. The Toronto Blue Jays are now 23-11 against the National League, and the National League, you've heard from probably every single MLB analyst, is supposed to be better than the American League. So that is a little bit of a trophy in itself. Best record in the MLB at home, 39-19, 20 games above 500. That's obviously good for the second best record in all of baseball. So a lot of things are going well in Toronto Blue Jays land, and you just beat a Chicago Cubs team. Again, they have Javier Assad on the mound. That's probably the worst pitcher out of the three that we're going to see in this series, but that is one of those games that you probably want to win, especially with those pitching matchups. So I think that'll kind of take us into the game here. We'll jump right into it. Javier Assad, the Cubs tried to pull a fast one on us. We thought it was Ben Brown, and they decided on the day of to switch it to Javier Assad. Has been injured pretty much the entire season. I think this is actually his first major league start this year. Was pretty effective in 2024, but you can't really have high expectations for a guy making his first start in 2025, especially against the juggernaut Toronto Blue Jays. But I think we got to start it here. We got Barry Bonds, returning back to the lineup and being Ernie Clement. 3 straight games of the home run from the kid. I mean, you absolutely love to see that. I don't know if this is true or not, but I could pretty confidently say it's for the first time he's ever done that in his major league career. Guys, looking at Ernie Clement's home run totals, I'll get them just over his career, but he's probably got like 30. It's can't be that many. So the odd amount of times that Ernie Clement's even hit back-to-back home runs, never mind 3 in a row, probably has not happened a whole lot. But just insane stuff from Ernie right now. He's on an unbelievable stretch, and with guys coming off of the IL, it's making it a very tough decision for the Toronto Blue Jays front office and John Schneider to who are you going to play every single day? Who are you going to put on the bench? Like in this game, you have a righty on the mound, Yariel Loperfido, who has been very good in the last 30 games or so, doesn't even get a chance to play because you got Andres Gimenez coming back. You have Ernie Clement in the lineup. Good thing, even though it was righty on righty. Ty France, who's been absolutely ridiculous. So credit to Ernie Clement, credit to, again, the bottom of the order for coming up clutch once again. But it's a good problem to have, but it's like, who do you sit in this Toronto Blue Jays lineup right now? Because you want to get all these guys in. Again, you don't want it to be, 4 or 5 days in between at-bats, especially for your guys that are just rotating in. I mean, you saw what happened to Jeff Hoffman when he had a week of rest, so you don't want your guys resting for too long. But good problem to have for the Toronto Blue Jays with everyone, especially in the bottom of the order, like they have been all season long, firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, Ernie Clement, 25 bombs over his career. So there you go.
Yeah, probably the first time. You guys can confirm that in the comments. If you guys remember a time that Ernie Clement has hit 3 home runs in consecutive games, or home runs in 3 consecutive games, there you go.
There you go.
You guys know what I'm talking about anyway. Probably has not happened. Probably the first time it has happened in Ernie Clement's career. So yeah, shout out to Ernie for just being absolutely ridiculous. And I do have just his stats pulled up over the last 7 here. The guy's slugging .853 over the last 7 games. Like, it's just absolutely insane. an OBP of 382. Same thing with the average again, 4 home runs. Shout out Ernie for that. OPS over the last 15 games. Going to try to do some quick math here. It's over 900, so it's about 923 if I did that math correctly. So yeah, again, shout out to Ernie Clement. Just whether it's righties, whether it's against lefties, providing very good defense as well, making some nice defensive plays, especially one in the 7th inning on a chopper down the third base line. We got the charge, but yeah, just a guy that can really do it all. It's very fun to watch when he's firing offensively as well.
Yeah, he really is. And there must be something in the air in Toronto this season because, you bring in a guy like Ty France, and I wanted to go back to him because you did put a mention in for him. And ever since he sort of became a Blue Jay, he's been getting it going. And
insane, actually.
A guy that I really didn't have, I was not thrilled about that. I thought, why even bring this guy in to take up a lineup spot from some of the guys that have been performing? But as soon as he threw that Blue Jays uniform on, I mean, all of a sudden, yeah, he's hitting well. Andres Gimenez comes back, and he's getting on the, getting a hit, getting on in the game again. It's not like he was, came back and was a bum. So I don't know, Carter. It's getting to a point now where it's like, which guy won't succeed? And you brought up the lineup bit, and this is gonna have to be a bigger conversation for the two of us, and maybe we'll just get right into it in the second segment. And we've talked about it a little bit, but who do you not play? All these guys have deserved time, and they deserve to play. They've put their body and their season on lines to do good things for this ball club. And now you got to make a hard choice of who to sit. And that's not a problem. That is the best problem to have in baseball. But it's something to think about for sure.
Well, like just looking at the bench, you got David Schneider usually on the bench. Ty France is another bench option. It's either Ernie Clement and Nathan Lucas. Those guys are both been pretty good. Tyler Heineman, even a guy that, again, traditionally isn't going to be a guy that pops off the page. But if you've been watching Tyler Heineman in the big year 2025, you've known that this guy has definitely made the most of every opportunity he's had. And even Miles Straw, again, is that guy that can come in as a defensive substitute and has been good in the instances he has been given. So, again, just continuing to make the most out of their opportunities. And I think something with this bottom of the order, just the Toronto Blue Jays in totality, it's just the hitting and success is contagious. It's more contagious than COVID-19. It's more contagious than the bubonic plague. Like it's the Spanish flu. Like it just doesn't matter who it is. I mean, like me and you could go up there. Like it could be my 4-year-old cousin. He'd probably somehow find success, maybe get hit by a pitch, throw the elbow over the zone and do what he can for the Toronto Blue Jays. But like just throwing it back over to Ty France. I mean, since joining the Toronto Blue Jays, 387 average, an OPS of, again, doing the quick math here, 1,005, so over 1,000 OPS. Just insane stuff from Ty France. I'm looking for his doubles here because I know he has a lot of doubles, 5 doubles as well over the 31 plate appearances. It's just been absolutely insane. Again, a guy that I wasn't very high on as well. Didn't have the craziest hitting stats. A guy that is coming from the Twins, that fire sale that did happen over there. So not a guy that I was super high on, obviously. But yeah, he's been proving a lot of people, myself included, wrong in these big scenarios. But a guy that has proven, at least in playoff scenarios, and this going in, that he was going to be effective and wasn't going to let the moment get too big for him. But just continuing to have that contagious success, it's a great problem to have. Like a lot of things that we've been talking about with the Toronto Blue Jays. Just too many guys are playing too well. So it makes it hard to just, blindly put guys in the lineup. John Schneider's really had to think about every specific scenario and think about which guys he can put in these scenarios to give him, again, the best chance at hitting good baseballs and having quality at bats. And we've seen that time and time again this entire season, no matter who it's been.
Yeah, we got a lot more to talk about. Obviously, we want to dive into this game specifically. And some of the stuff that happened. Obviously, the great play by Bichette. We'll get into the Vladimir Guerrero scoop. It was fantastic. Just a great play all around. We want to get into a lot of things. Jose Berrios. We'll come back. We'll talk all about that and more as, this Blue Jays team looks to grab a couple more wins against this pretty solid Cubs lineup. We'll be right back.
Today's episode is sponsored by Open Phone. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had a service emergency, like a burst pipe. If the first plumber didn't answer, did you wait? Absolutely not. You called the next one, and that's why having a reliable business line is so important, and that's why you need Open Phone. Open Phone is the #1 business phone system that helps you streamline and scale customer communication, all from an app on your phone or computer. one of the best things about Open Phone that really caught my attention is that your whole team, if you do have like a business or like we have this big Locked On network, our entire team can respond to customers or like for us, for me and Brayden, it would be that the podcast listeners, we can use Open Phone and have like a shared document, a shared inbox. So if maybe I get busy, Brayden can answer a conversation that I already had picked up, vice versa. If Brayden's busy, he started a conversation and he got busy at work, then I can jump in, kind of finish off the conversation and make sure we are always connected with the listeners and you guys that kind of, keep this podcast possible. So Open Phone is offering Locked On show listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/lockedonmlb. That's openphone.com/lockedonmlb. If you have existing numbers with another service, Open Phone will port them over at no extra charge. Open Phone, no missed calls, no missed customers.
So, Carter, just continuing on, I did want to get into one thing. I think that just going off of what you said, sort of coming out of the last segment, was the fact that it's tough for John Schneider to make a bad decision. And these players are helping out with that. I mean, obviously a manager can be criticized by the moves that he does make. And we've had, our fair share of issues here and there with John Schneider, but we've also liked some of the stuff he's been doing. When everybody on your team is playing this well, it's a lot easier to make a lineup. You're not having to juggle, oh my goodness, who might show up tonight? It's like the 2024 season was. It is, hey, I can throw this guy in here and he'll probably have success. Will this guy have more success than maybe this guy? Sure, possibly. That may happen, and that's something that John Schneider has to juggle in his head. But that's why he gets paid probably way more than we do, Carter. So I just wanted to throw that in there, just the fact that it is probably a lot easier on John Schneider's mental capacity to have everyone playing well. And it's hard to make a wrong decision, I guess.
Yeah. Hot take from Brayden Wasco there. It's pretty easy for John Schneider when everybody who you put in, no matter who it is, they could have, one arm, no arms, 4 fingers, 10 fingers, doesn't matter who it is. It could be an alien from Mars. He's going to come in and he's probably going to go 2 for 4 in the baseball game. So it's just funny how things change in the span of a year. You go from a guy that we weren't really big fans of either. Again, John Schneider's matured a ton, even this season. You've seen it from start to finish and just with some of the decision-making that he has made. But this guy was on the hot seat in 2024. We were more so on Ross Atkins, but John Schneider, again, another guy was kind of thrown into the mix. But last year, he couldn't make a right decision because he didn't have anyone to throw in a lot of scenarios. I mean, Chad Green, who's not even on this team anymore, was the closing pitcher for this bullpen in 2024. It's not the greatest, arsenal for John Schneider when you're trying to, have bullpen guys go out day in and day out. So when you look at 2025, it seems like he can't make a wrong decision, and it's because he has so many weapons available. And when you look at Bodog, I don't want to get, too much into this. I think this would be a very big topic for another episode. But Bodog has John Schneider at a 73% chance to win AL Manager of the Year this year. So obviously that's crazy how things change. Is this all because of John Schneider? Not as much. I mean, the Blue Jays turnaround obviously has a lot to do with this as well, and that's why this is a bigger conversation. But but the way the Toronto Blue Jays are playing, I mean, you got to give him credit, obviously, because he is taking advantage of these platoons and these matchups. And again, he is putting guys in positions to succeed. But at the end of the day, me and you, half the people watching this, again, a lot of these managerial decisions are fairly obvious. But I will give him credit for that the Game 3. That was a little bit of a whirlwind there. So he has, again, made major improvements, but it definitely makes it a lot easier when you got guys who are competent baseball players on your baseball team in 2025.
Yeah, Carter, absolutely. And wild statistic there from Bodog. I mean, I don't know about 73%. That seems wild to me, but hey, you know what? It's got to go to somebody.
The Blue Jays to be in the number 1 team in the American League. Like when we did our preseason or spring training predictions, I had them at 84 wins. You had them just, I think, in the playoffs. Nobody had this team as the number 1 team in the American League and the second best record in all of baseball. So I think when you see teams succeeding, again, I'm not going to get too much more into this, but when you see teams succeeding, a lot of the time, the manager is going to go down with the ship, or he's going to be, the best captain of all time and, steer the ferry, to the promised land.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. 89 wins, by the way. It's, I'm looking like I might be the closest to the win total.
Well, I want it to go over. I'm I don't care about mine at all. Like, I mean, I'll be wrong every single day of the week if the Jays are going to win, 120 games. I won't be too mad that I guessed 84 before the season started.
Yeah, no, and I don't blame you. I mean, I think a lot of people were in your shoes. I think there's a lot of people with a lot lower win total. So, yeah, not
on
definitely.
A lot of the betting sites, I think it was like 76.5. What was the win total? Like,
Yeah,
we're 7 games out. Like, it's August 13th, and we are 7 games out. It's absolutely insane. That was a low win total, but again, the expectations do not really correlate with, what the Toronto Blue Jays have done this year. So, credit to the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
I got one quote that I quickly want to go into for the Ernie Clement stuff, because I know you're probably going to want to take this another direction after that. I just do want to pull it up here. But it was, it's just, just typical Ernie Clement, just, fun, like kind of loose, happy-go-lucky guy. But John Schneider said that Ernie Clement actually missed the bunt sign when he hit his 3-run homer in the game. So good thing Ernie Clement was not paying attention to John Schneider. That was the perfect scenario for the bunt. Like, they've done this so many times as well. You get runners on first and second, Ty France gets hit. Ernie Clement, who is a very good bunter, it would have made a lot of sense. You're at the bottom of the order. They've done this so many times. But Ernie Clement, it's like, I hit 2 home runs in a row in the last 2 games. I'm going to hit a third. I'm going to make it 3 for the first time in my career. Again, fact check me if I'm wrong there. But just shout out to Ernie Clement for, just doing whatever he feels like on the baseball diamond. And John Schneider ended it off by saying, you're looking the right way when you're doing that. And I'm glad he missed the sign.
Yeah, well, yeah, now hindsight 2020. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the easiest call of all time. But
yeah, so I guess the ruling is I think Ernie Clement's actually not playing tomorrow now because or today because he missed the sign. So that's the disciplinary action that he's gonna have to have.
Yeah, he's getting sat probably.
But yeah, it's a bad move. You don't want to swing and hit home runs. Nobody likes that.
No, this Toronto Blue Jays team. Hey, if this is the Toronto Blue Jays of last year, I would assume that they were just taking the no home run sign. That's what I would have assumed. But anyway, it's been absolutely fantastic. We want to get into some of stuff that actually happened this game. Obviously, Carter was chatting about the Ernie Clement's home run. But I did want to talk and leave some time, which we will get a little bit more into some other plays in the third segment. But I wanted to talk just about the pitching. And I know it keeps coming back to the pitching because that's where everyone's eyes have been lately. Obviously, with a couple blowups, a couple bad starts from some guys. The Jose Berrios game today was exactly what I needed to see. For me, I was getting a little bit frustrated and a little bit worried about this pitching staff, and not just the starters, some of the bullpen guys as well. I think the bounce back here from Jose Berrios going 5 1/3 inning, it at least gave me some hope that this pitching staff, and which we've known all year, has the ability to bounce back. Some of these guys have been in the league a long time, and probably if they have a bad start or two, they're probably in their head working out why and how to fix that bad start. We saw it with Kevin Gausman. Kevin Gausman went through a bad stretch. Okay, he figured out what needed to change and changed it. Came back the following start and was fantastic. And I think that's something, as much as people don't like this pitching staff and they think that, they don't have what it takes, I think the ability to adjust and the ability to work yourself out of problems is a massive thing. And that just comes with guys being in the league a long time, experience. And that's the Blue Jays have a lot of experience in this pitching staff. That's for sure.
See, I liked what Jose Berrios did in the start. And I don't know if it's like the most confident, like, oh, Jose Berrios is back sort of thing. Because in that third inning, it was, a little scary. Because in the first 2 innings, like the sinker location was absolutely ridiculous. It's like he could have just, picked a spot on the iPad, pressed the dot there, and that's where he was going to throw a sinker. So the first 2 innings were absolutely ridiculous. Then the third inning, you kind of saw him lose it a little bit. And you start to see him rely on the slurve a little bit, which we haven't really seen from Jose Berrios like at all this season. Threw 29 slurves, so that was 32% of his pitches, the pitch he threw the most often against the Chicago Cubs. So I'm not sure if they had a scouting report on, hey, maybe the Chicago Cubs aren't the greatest against the spin, especially Jose Berrios having a very nasty slurve. So that was definitely a part of their game plan in this game as well. But that third inning persevered. I mean, that's the instance that you want Jose Berrios to be able to get out of. He kind of loads the bases for himself and then is able to pitch out of that jam. Again, this is why you can't completely write off a lot of these pitchers right now, like Jose Berrios, like Chris Bassitt, when you're talking about a playoff rotation. It's because what if Jose Berrios makes 6 more starts? And maybe this is like, that needles turner. It's like, hey, I kind of had my stuff back. The slurve was nice. Like I had 6 whiffs on my slurve. The sinker at times I was locating as much as I wanted to be. Maybe this can be the start of something where Jose Berrios goes on a little bit of a run, and then has pitched for the Toronto Blue Jays in the playoffs before. So it's so early to, talk about these playoff starters, but it definitely was nice to see Jose Berrios, kind of that traditional start that you've seen from him a lot of the time. Didn't give up that moon ball, so that was nice to see, but definitely had to battle in and out of some at-bats, but came out on top in the majority of them. So that's exactly what you want to see from a veteran.
That's all you're looking for, right? You're not expecting Carter, you brought up something, a great point. I want to say it was at the beginning of the year. Maybe it was in the offseason. I can't remember. But you said every pitcher has 10 great starts.
Yeah.
They have 10 starts that it wasn't their best stuff, but they still had a pretty good day. And then they have 10 of the starts that they absolutely despise, that they hate, that it was a terrible start. And obviously you want more so to be on the ladder of that. But I think that this start would be in that middle 10. Jose Berrios probably didn't love his stuff, but again, an experienced guy that was able to come out and battle and get out of certain situations, which we see Chris Bassitt do a whole ton. Chris Bassitt isn't going to be a guy that has immaculate starts all the time. He's going to be a guy that's going to find himself in some trouble and work his way out. And I think we're starting to see that a lot with Jose Berrios as well. It's not, can he go out and have that immaculate day? It's, can he go out there and battle and fight and do what this team has done all season long. And that's have the heart, have the grit to work yourself into or out of big situations.
No, absolutely. And that's what you want to see from that guy, a guy like Jose Berrios, a guy like Chris Bassitt, exactly like you said, is that these guys don't necessarily have the greatest strikeout stuff, but you want these guys to be gritty. You don't want these guys to get discouraged in a big moment. And that's why these guys are veterans, especially when you're looking at Jose Berrios. I mean, this guy is like an Iron Man, knock on wood, does not miss a start, will never miss a start. So that he is the epitome of reliability. So a guy that in your rotation is really the only certainty that you have, at least at the top end of this rotation for the next upcoming years, with Chris Bassitt getting off the books, with, Max Scherzer, Kevin Gausman having a year and a half left, Shane Bieber, a little bit uncertain there as well. What kind of pitcher will he be when he returns? Alek Manoah, like Jose Berrios right now is really the only certainty that you have, at least long-term, with a lot of these pitchers. Maybe Trey Savage, but again, haven't seen him at the major league level yet. So it's going to be a lot of fun conversations to have about this starting pitching, but Jose Berrios will be a part of those conversations for the foreseeable future. So if anyone's really going to, kind of find himself once again in this back half of the season, at least if you're looking at it long-term, Jose Berrios would be a pretty good candidate for that. So there is one more thing that I want to go into, one more play, and it's the Bichette to Vladdy connection in the fourth inning. Just Bichette doing his best Derek Jeter impression, just showing off the athleticism. You absolutely just love to see it. I'll ball at, kind of to his backhand side, finds himself in the hole, a little bit of a jump throw again from Bichette, and then Vladdy just showing off the flexibility, doing the splits. He's really fired up. Just probably one of the best defensive plays I think I've seen from Bichette in his entire major league career.
Well, Carter, and it's not only that one. He had another great play on a line drive hit up the middle. And it's not the flashiest play. Like, he's not making a diving effort, but it's that first step, the reactionary move that Bichette makes to the inside. So towards second base with the glove hand, and is able to snatch the line drive right out of the air. And again, it's not one of those plays that's going to pop off the page to you. It's just a very solid, because that could have been just a base hit. And instead, Bichette takes that away with that reaction. And that first couple steps he takes gets him in the position to be able to make that play. So I think overall, just a really, really good defensive game from Bichette. And hopefully we can continue to see more from him.
Yeah, I think in totality this year, like if you look at some of the stats and like whether it's Baseball Savant, Fangraphs, it's not necessarily going to say that Bichette's having this like revitalized defensive season. And I'm not saying he's like the greatest defender of all time, but I'm saying for Bichette standards, I think this has been probably his most consistent defensive season, at least that we've seen in the last 4 years. Like Bichette has never really been advertised as a very good defender, but now when like you have the regular routine play, like I'm not really worried that Bichette's going to mess it up. Whereas 2 years ago, Bichette would get a dribble to shortstop, and then I'm like, oh, this ball might be launched in the 500 level at the Rogers Center. Never mind, just getting it close to Vladdy's vicinity. So now I think Bichette, you've seen it. He's been one of the guys that you've heard it, whether it's analysts, whether it's John Schneider, Ross Atkins, John Gimenez even talked about it as well. Or I guess, sorry, it wouldn't have been Gibby at the time. It would have been Charlie Montoyo. There you go, the bongo player. That's who I was looking for. You heard him talk about it as well. This guy definitely takes his defensive game seriously. He did want to improve. He was showing signs for the last few years that he was taking it seriously, and he wanted to show signs of improvement, especially if you're playing the shortstop position, one of the more premium positions in the major leagues. So yeah, just shout out to Bichette for all the progression that we've seen, especially from the eye test this year with some of the plays that he's making that he wouldn't traditionally make in the past.
Yeah, I can't agree with you any more than that. Carter, let's take a break. We're going to come back. We want to tee up the last couple games, talk about a couple more things. Because this would be a massive series. And now the Blue Jays are on the cusp of winning this. They need to win one more. And we'll see what the damage they can do. Me and Carter will go over that all right after this short break. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. We've all been there, logging on early, waiting forever for concert or game tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot. And man, I'm going to tell you, that happened to me once it was a couple months ago. Man, that sucks. Live music, games should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes getting concert tickets faster, easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you can save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. That's what I look for. The Game Time deals are unbelievable, and it's one of my favorite parts also is that it shows you the price right up front. So you're not guessing when you go to check out, oh, is there going to be an extra $20 fee or $30 fee? No, what you see is what you get, and that's what I love about Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So, Carter, I think now that the Blue Jays win the first one, I think your mind immediately has to go into, can they go and win this series? And we both said that game 3 was probably going to be a tough one. So in my mind, keep the momentum rolling. You just picked up back-to-back wins. Keep that momentum going and pick up game 2. And at least then, if you don't get the big S word, at least you get the series win.
Like, for me, it kind of depends how you're looking at this now. Like, initially, I thought, yeah, game 3 would be the harder game. And I think it still is probably the harder game if you're just looking at the on-paper matchup. This team's hit lefties really well this season. Like, you were going to have Ernie Clement in that lineup against Matthew Boyd. Again, getting ahead of ourselves. This is his third game of the series. But Ernie Clement, again, Barry Bonds against left-handed pitching. Ty France, who's been really good, obviously, as a Toronto Blue Jay. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who we didn't even talk about in this episode. But this guy's so back. Absolutely love to see that.
Oh, Daulton Varsho as well, home run. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, Daulton Varsho, again, not really as lefty, but he's going to be in that lineup against Cade Horton for the second game that we should be focusing on. But yeah, you got some guys just literally firing on all cylinders. Like Joey Loperfido should make a start in this game as well. Jimenez probably be out there. I know Brayden's going to be really fired up about that one. Hey, almost an RBI single today, I guess. Ty France was a little bit quicker. Helped him out a little bit more. But like just breaking down the second game, it will be Cade Horton against Kevin Gausman. And what I was going to go into is that when you look at the pitching matchups, like Max Scherzer, at least recently, for me, Max Scherzer's been better than Kevin Gausman. Again, when you're looking at a playoff scenario, it's a little bit different. But if you're looking at just the last 4 starts, I'm taking Max Scherzer over Kevin Gausman. So when you're looking at, the premium pitching matchup of the series, it's probably game 3. Cade Horton has been nothing to slough at. Kevin Gausman has been better recently. The fastball's been playing at 96, 97. When he has a good fastball, the secondary pitches, especially the splitter, obviously, definitely are elevated as well. But I think for the Toronto Blue Jays right now, you definitely limited the Chicago Cubs offense in that first game. Credit to Jose Berrios. Credit to the entire bullpen, who we didn't really talk about. Louis Varland's just continuing to impress me every single time he goes out there. Really, the only one that I didn't love what I saw from him was Tommy Nance. But again, how much do you normally expect from Tommy Nance day in and day out? But I want to see a win here against the Chicago Cubs. I want to see them absolutely put out this offensive flame once again. I want Kevin Gausman to have that vintage start. Like the Chicago Cubs only had 4 total bases in that first game. If they can get 8, I mean, I'm definitely okay with that. It doesn't have to be 4. That was dominance from the Toronto Blue Jays pitching staff, but we've seen it. This pitching staff can just be average a lot of the time. Toronto Blue Jays offense is going to do more than enough to help this team out. But you got 2 offensive powerhouses, so the pitching is definitely going to matter. I'm going to give the Toronto Blue Jays, I'm going to switch up here. I had the Toronto Blue Jays losing this series. I'm going to give them the win here. I'm going to say I'm switching up, keep on the momentum going here. Let's get to 71. Let's get to 74 quickly in the next 2 series, and then just completely leave 2024 in the past.
I love it. Hey, the more wins, the better. You might as well call the sweep, Carter, right now. That's what I really want to hear from you.
I'm not going to go that far yet. Because I mean, you're playing two good pitchers. Like you got two. I'm not going to call Kevin Gausman quite yet an old head, but Max Scherzer's definitely got that unk status. But I love seeing Max Scherzer pitch. Like right now, for me, at least maybe until Shane Bieber makes that first start, Max Scherzer is my favorite guy that gets rolled out in the rotation every 5 days. So I'm excited for that Max Scherzer start. But I'm obviously excited for Kevin Gausman as well. Let's take advantage of a rookie. Let's show him what Canadian baseball is all about in Toronto Blue Jays land.
That's right. Yeah. Thanks to everybody listening. I mean, you guys have been absolutely killing it lately. The subscriptions, the views, the likes, the comments, just the messages that some of you send us, whether it's on Twitter or Instagram. You guys are absolutely unbelievable. And we've had a blast, being able to cover this team with you guys, the ups, the downs, everything. That has been fantastic. So keep doing that. We got a lot more to come this week. Again, I am not here for Friday episode. I do have to work super late. So Carter and Skylar Peters will be here for that one. They I don't know. Those two always have a blast. It's, I let them meet one time, and then now they're the bestest of friends. So hopefully they have a great time, and you guys enjoy that episode as well. But I'll be back still tomorrow, so keep it locked here to lock. Oh, that was sick. I said keep it locked. Keep it locked to Locked On Blue Jays. See you guys later.